In 2 minutes, I'm going to prove to you that there's no such thing as an evil baby, coming from my experience as a psychiatrist. First off, we have to define what a baby is. A baby is a mammalian entity that lacks musculoskeletal and neurodevelopment. It has the potential to develop in both of those ways, but it has not done so yet. I want you to imagine that a baby is born. What does a baby do when it's born? Well, part of its genetic programming is that when it's born, it responds to anything in the environment by screaming. This baby screams and it is picked up by its mother and it is put to the breast. The baby drinks, is comforted, and goes to sleep. Eventually it wakes up, kind of stares for a while, sees its mother's face, sits there, gets tired, goes to sleep, wakes up, screams again, breast, rinse and repeat. And if this continues, where every time the baby experiences distress, it screams, the screaming is a plea to the environment, and the environment responds by nurturing it, that's a certain type of development. On the surface level, the screaming is because I'm hungry and I need food, but deeper than that, it is a solicitation of the neural system for programming by the environment. The environment is responding to that screaming, to that plea for programming, by bringing in adults who have actually already developed and trained their neural systems and modeling to the neural system of the baby how it should develop. The kid turns 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, and he's sitting on a playground and he sees another kid playing. And part of the programming that his neural systems have is to imitate. So he sits there and he kind of does whatever the other kid's doing, and that's called parallel play. Throughout all of these years, throughout all of these experiences, he gets nervous at times. He always has his mother or father to run back to and kind of modulate him when he's stressed out. At some point, he chooses to approach non-mother, non-father. He approaches another child. And most of the time when he does that, it goes pretty well. Every once in a while, it doesn't go well. But again, he goes back to mom and dad help him out. This child is developing secure attachment, and that kind of carries forward into their later years. They feel like they can take risks at school, and if things go bad, there's someone there that's going to catch them. They become teenagers. They feel like they're able to take social risks because they know that there's a home to go back to. Even if everything goes wrong, there's going to be something to make it better. And this child develops a personality that involves the ability to take risks, to judge risks, to modulate, to emotionally regulate, because the systems around the environment has responded to them by helping them learn these neural skills that nobody is born with. They're 20, 25, 30 years old and they meet you at a grocery store and you're like, wow, this person is pretty normal and cool. What happens if when the baby screams, no one responds? Or sometimes someone responds, sometimes they don't. Or sometimes someone responds by nurturing, sometimes they respond with abuse. How is that neural system going to program itself to take risks, to be able to reasonably anticipate reward in the environment, to understand their place in the world? Well, it can't, or at least not entirely. This is where you wind up with people who have like a pretty good personality overall, but there are certain situations they just don't know how to deal with. Maybe their threshold for taking risks, for taking opportunities, for asking someone to marry them, for example, is just a little bit lower because when they were babies, when they were infants, when they were toddlers and then children, the risks were really, really high. Sometimes they would make that bid for attention and it would be responded to in a really, really violent, bad, poor way. Compared to that first hypothetical kid where everything went perfectly, they have a different data set on which their neural networks were trained. This was way more than 2 minutes. Look, you can extrapolate this concept to any state that a person developed into. Super nervous people, people who struggle to find self-worth in themselves, people who are kind, people who are mean. What you're observing when you're making those determinations about someone you meet is the output of years and years of programming, environmental programming of this pluripotent neural system that every baby is born with. I'm a psychiatrist. I find this really interesting. If you find it interesting, tell me you find it interesting in the comments so I'll make more videos about it. Yeah, the original question to the video, there are no evil babies. And so that's why there's no evil babies. Because you can't be born with smarts, you can't be born with skills, you can't be born with logic, you can't be born with evil either. Most of us have the potential to develop it.